I know. We're like twins. You can't tell us apart. Anyway, I love that mask. Super comfortable. And can't spoil any surprises because Christmas is coming up. Might be more of these coming. Not for you, more for me. Anyway, long story short, I've been listening to two kind of interesting podcasts lately. Well, I'll listen to one. Haven't listened to the other yet because it's kind of in my queue. But it's November. November's actually starting to wind down now because I think today is the 17th, November 17th. And the month is drawing to an end really fast. And before we know it, Christmas. Like, Christmas is literally 5 weeks away. And I haven't done any friggin' shopping. So, will there be even stores open to go shopping with? And, of course, it's laying a lot of stress on people. And we can all appreciate that, especially parents. Because as parents, obviously, we feel stressed for our kids. The kids are feeling stressed because of all the shit they got to do at school. It's tough, and I feel for them. And I wish that I could just, pick them all up and give them a big hug and tell them it will be all right. But we don't know if it'll be all right. There's people who are unemployed, and there's restaurants going under, and I love restaurants because I'm fat and I eat a lot. But yeah, stressful times. So, which leads me into these podcasts. I started digging around on mental health podcasts. And surprisingly, there aren't too many. Well, there's a few. Maybe I haven't dug deep enough, but, sorry, coffee time. Actually, not coffee time, McDonald's coffee. But a friend of mine, virtual friend, a guy I've known for years, he started a podcast, and what is it called? The Happy Molecule. His name is Kevin Frankish. The podcast is called The Happy Molecule, and he's been suffering from depression and anxiety for decades. So he seems to be somewhat qualified, and he goes out there and he interviews, mental health practitioners. So I would suggest that you, if you're feeling any kind of stress, nothing is better than going for a walk, putting on some earphones, AirPods, whatever you want to call them, and just listen. Just exercise and listen. And be cognizant of your surroundings and what's happening, and just kind of embrace it all. So look up his podcast. It's called The Happy Molecule. And then the second podcast that popped up in my feed this morning that was totally unexpected was Bill Gates and Rashida Jones. She's an actress. She went to Harvard. And she's been in The Office and in Boston Public. And, she's, once you see her, you're like, oh, her. She's a very well-known, recognized actress who is incredibly well-spoken. Well, obviously she went to Harvard. And smart and everything else, too. And Bill freaking Gates. Bill Gates. Everyone knows who Bill Gates is. And no matter what your opinion on him is, I have a lot of friends who think that he's like this conspiracy nut and making the wrong vaccines and shit like that. I don't think that. I think Bill Gates is brilliant. I don't think Elon Musk is quite the level that Bill Gates is. I think Bill Gates is the bar to set yourself by, because he's just a very incredible person. And if you ever watch that Netflix documentary called Inside Bill's Brain, or How Bill Thinks, or something like that, it really dives into there and sees how he kind of puts pieces together, and he reads like a fiend. Fast reader. His vacation time is packing like 20 textbooks into a car, going to this cottage and just reading. I mean, that would be a great vacation. I love reading too. I don't have the time. If I could take 2 weeks off, no responsibilities, but just reading, yeah, I don't think I'd read a textbook though. Textbooks put me to sleep. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening to the AudPod. It's not just a YouTube channel. It's an actual podcast at the audpod.ca, audpod.ca. But Twitter is where I get most of my action, and that's the AudPod1, like the number 1. And there I've taken a lot of the podcasts I listen to, and I've curated them into different sections that I think you'll find interesting. I like to consider myself kind of like the sorting hat from Harry Potter. I put on the hat, I kind of tell the podcast where they're going to go, and they can be themselves under those, categories, I guess, because there's a million podcasts out there. Actually, there's more than a million. There's like 1.6 million, and I can't listen to them all. But as I do start listening to them, and I like to organize them: true crime, lifestyle, mental health, Star Wars podcast. There's a million podcasts with Star Wars, which blows my mind. horror movies, which is the one I'm working on now. So I'm working on podcasts, just kind of focusing on it's a movies podcast. Like, I'm listening to them. And I plan on writing a review so I can then make the podcast about that. But holy crap, there's some really interesting ones out there, and there's a lot of them. All right, I'm done talking. Thanks for putting up with me. I hope you have a fantastic day. It's Tuesday, and it's sunny, cold. Anyway, enjoy. Take care. Why are you still here? Go. What? You're still... All right, I'll go first.
Now, listen, I'll tell you a funny story, actually. I went to...
Never say it's a funny story up front. Just say, I'll tell you a story and you be the judge.
Oh, no, I meant funny, like kind of weird. This is kind of funny. This is like when milk goes funny. Or like your uncle. Like, look out for Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike went funny. But